Will I be as big as you? It was Jax's only memory of home, of Earth. Someone, he couldn't remember who, but someone reached down and grabbed him on the shoulder. You'll be as big as you want to be. The man reached in his pocket and pulled out a little pocket knife, hardly larger than his own finger, and wrapped in a shiny wooden exterior. As big as your mind desires. He put the knife in Jax's hand, forcing his small fingers to wrap around his cold surface. But only if you make it so. Jax was too young to understand, but he was smart. He thought he had the man caught. Will I be as big as the universe? He smiled, and spoke simply and surely, like the warm growls of a crackling fire. The universe is big. It is vast beyond comprehension, expansive to its core, and deeper than any measurement. Yet in all of its infinite void, all of its oblivion, it pales in comparison to the universe of one's thoughts. After all, you are the universe experiencing itself. Somehow, Jax understood that one. He smoked cigarettes in one of the storage closets. It was easy to get away with. The crew members never dared enter a place where they might have to do honest work, and no one kept up with him. He was nothing more than a pest, a little bug that the captain thought would make a fun pet to eventually squish. No smoking. The little janitor drone beeped in automatic, sporadic jolts. The crew had stolen the thing years ago. No smoking. Jax enjoyed the company. It was the only kind he got. Want some? No smoking. He smiled, putting his feet up on the waist-height machine. So who are they going to kill first, Rusty? You or me? No smoking? Yeah. He watched as the puffy clouds fell out of his lips, swirling in lovely tendrils. He loved the way the smoke seemed to wrap around invisible structures in the air, as if there was something there that he couldn't see. A whole world in the simple air above him, fighting with the smoke that came from his lips. I think it'll be me too. A jolt sounded from outside the door. Before Jax could think to put out the cigarette, the entrance flew open. A rush of cold, metallic air hit his nostrils like being coated in acid, and his eyes battered at the sudden influx of light. That damn bot doesn't do shit. It was one of the pirates, a tall blue alien with muscles large enough to strangle an elephant, and the anger to want to. Why is the fucking human in here? No matter how young or how beaten Jax might have been, he was smart. He put his head to the floor and squeezed himself into the smallest figure possible, looking hopeless and minuscule under the shadow of the massive alien. He never talked in front of them, never looked or even glanced their way. As far as he knew, most of them didn't even know he existed. Is that some of our cargo? He reached down and grabbed the butt that Jax had tried to toss behind himself. It actually wasn't theirs. Jax had stolen it himself when they had stopped at a black market port. He remembered them from Earth. You've been stealing our cargo? Replying would only make things worse. Smaller. He had to get smaller. You're undermining this crew? Invisible. If only he could become so small that no one would see him, so that no one would think about him. You little dog! He could hear the excitement in the thing's voice, the rush of demeaning something. Get the fuck out here! He grabbed Jax by his collar and yanked him out of the closet. Jax didn't kick or fight, he simply fell with a tug, flopped out into the open air, and listened with sweet remembrance as the bot yelled out one final, "No smoking." He hung onto the strange, bitter taste of the smoke as he was dragged across the last ship. The little pleasures are the important ones. They keep a man from starving, from going insane. As he bounced and scraped across the metal ground, he only thought of that lovely cigarette, that lovely closet, and his peaceful time there. Bam! He was thrown onto the ground, surrounded by a party of rowdy, high, and aggressive alien pirates, all gambling and infusing themselves with whatever would make them loopy. The rat stole our cargo. That thing is still alive? They all laughed and traded jabs. Why do we even clothe it? Does it even know what clothes are? I hear his planet is already dead. They didn't know how to even feed themselves. I bet that robot feeds him. I bet he suckles from his little dust tube and eats the dirt. Another round of rancorous laughter. The blue alien made Jack stand beside him, putting one large hand on top of his head. I'm about tired of this little leech. Cheers erupted. I don't think the captain will even miss him. Kill it, Stag. Kill it. Everyone laughed harder and louder. Stag smiled and pressed more onto Jax's head. Should I kill it? Right here, right now? They were reaching a frenzy, a fever pitch of anger and bloodlust. They screamed for murder and blood, for the death and desecration of one small human. It infused them with awful lust for death. Stag picked Jax up from his head and brought him face to face, growling to show his awful white teeth. Is that what you want, little speck? He spoke as if he was caring. Do you want to finally die? Jax was afraid. He was horrified, yet to his own surprise he didn't want to run. In a strange way he was incredibly at peace, like he was almost asleep. His heart beat, but his mind was steady, like the careful, clear part of a stream right before a waterfall. For some reason his mind went to his first memory, to that figure that spoke to him so lovingly so long ago. He hung on to the thought so intensely that he could almost see it, could almost reach out and touch it. Rat! Stag shook him, holding him only inches away from his own face. Open your eyes. I want you to see this. He wasn't thinking. He wasn't planning. He was just opening his eyes and feeling. All of the aliens went silent with surprise. What? His voice was small and quiet. I am the universe. Stag blinked. You can talk? But only if I make it so. He flipped out the knife that never left his pocket and stabbed it into Stag's neck. It was an instant, a flash. Yet it all felt so perfect and necessary, like the calm river finally hitting the waterfall, turning into a rush and simply following the law of gravity. Jax's hand wrapped tightly around the knife and was unshakable as stone. Stag dropped him, and for a small moment Jax was floating, suspended with his hand holding the knife that killed the alien, watching as his yellow blood leaked onto his hands and spilled to the floor. He wasn't happy to kill anything, but deep down, somewhere in his small chest, something grew, and when he landed on the ground he landed with a smile, and as he stood up, slowly and covered in blood, all of the aliens looking on with stunned silence, he said the words with confidence and surety, with bravado and pride. I am the universe.